All the best times were crunch.
Yeah. I don't want to work today. I only want to work when I feel like working. Oh, I'm struck by inspiration at 3 a.m. If you're having thoughts like that and you're like 28, then it's over. Like this guy's doing the thumbnail game. He's going hardcore. He's getting 12 views 7 months ago. It's not difficult to work hard consistently if you have something that you desire. Forget about drugs and alcohol. If you set an alarm for them to interrupt the middle of your REM sleep, it will solve your creative block. I guarantee it. You can't work for 17 hours in a day. You're not going to grow Chinese DNA, are you?
I keep trying to make a video game, but it takes so long that I get sick of it and move on to the next, move on to the next game before I finish it. How do I power through creative workout or burnout and self-doubt so I can finally finish a project?
God damn.
Probably make a Flash game first.
How old are you? That's the first question, because if you're having thoughts like that and you're like 28, then it's over. You're not going to make it. But I think in general, for when you're making anything, will serve you better to look at it, to really treat it like a blue collar exercise and almost as though you're employing yourself. So when you're looking at, you look at what you're spending time on and you think of it like, would my employer, which is myself, like it that I'm spending this time doing this? And when you plan things out, that's kind of what you have to keep in mind when you're planning out, like you want to have a timeline for things. The other thing that's for creating stuff, you have to be doing it every day for a regular period of time. Like you have to show up like 9 to 5, 1 to, even if you have a day job and you can only do this for 2 hours a day, you have to do it from 8 to 10 every day or whenever it is that you've allocated your amount of time. But you have to treat it like a job that you're going into. You're going to sit down and you're going to do the work no matter what. You're not going to do this in bursts when you get your, like that type of working where it's like driven by motivation, driven by like manic phases. You get these manic phases and you want to do that leads to nothing ever getting done. Like nothing is ever going to be finished or completed if that's the way you work. You have to do it like boring 9 to 5, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., whatever amount of time you have, regular intervals. You don't take weekends, okay? You keep working on Saturday and Sunday. You can maybe take Sunday off, but you definitely are working Saturday. You just have to go, just like anything else, one step at a time. The hyperlateral, like getting fantasies about other ideas, that's just something that doesn't, like you're sending that message, you're aware of what the problem is. The problem is that you're getting tempted by other that seems, grass is greener. It seems like it's a better idea to do this. The project that you're not working on, that is gonna go much more smoothly than the project that you are working on. And that's not the case. So just fix your mental.
Doing freelance designs, but I work crazy hours to make that. Should I cut back and try another business? Not sure how to monetize design in ways that doesn't involve selling my time.
Good question. 140K guy, you should hire somebody, build a firm or a business, go after more clients, try to expand.
I'm developing a video game. I'm working with one other person. I'm struggling to settle art direction. I need some balance with ambiguity and a reasonable quality where I don't time sync realism into assets. Any suggestions?
Just hire an artist who's fast and don't worry about the art style of the game. For cash, not for a percentage. I don't think art matters that much.
That Lil Sassa video was one of my favorites. I thought you guys did a great job on it, so it struck me odd that it was your least favorite, and I was always curious why. Thanks again.
It's just because I spent so much time on the graphics for that. I spent so much time on the visuals, and my career has been a learning process that visuals are less important than audio, and that was like a keystone punishment torture moment was spending like months trying to make that look good, and it was just a waste of time. There's a lot of get things done, productivity managers, Notion. There's that software Notion. Like GTD is a whole genre of junk, get things done. And then there's all these newsletters and stuff. My recommendation would be to just work as fast as you can. I think the fastest way to get information that you need would be like probably YouTube videos, realistically.
Yeah.
YouTube videos and maybe forums if you're doing something like very specific.
YouTube videos changed my life.
Reddit's pretty useful, but YouTube videos is if you're trying to learn stuff, I would say just go for specific stuff that arises when you are like working on something. Is probably the most useful stuff to learn. Newsletters, I tried being a big brain and subscribing to newsletters and stuff, and it's just a waste of time. The getting things done, like all the productivity hacks that people say to do, none of it is as useful as just actually getting to work. You got to fight for time. Plan your day at night, and you have to fight for time. You have to mentally torture yourself every second to be actively doing whatever it is that you need to be doing. I'm sorry. And it's not, listen, the tool stuff, brother, second brain. Have you seen this?
No.
Get Things Done app. This is like procrastination porn.
Yeah.
This is the that will ruin you for 6 months. You can get this fantasy world. You can dive in this fantasy world and live here for 2 years, for 5 years. If you have the natural inclination to like just min-max everything, this is how you torture yourself. Oh, what app do I use? Evernote, Notion, Roam, Obsidian, Other. I guess I should install all of them. And I've been there, trust me. I got Obsidian open right now. That's what I've been transferring my notes over from Evernote to Obsidian. So to a degree, it's necessary. I mean, I use this stuff to write sketches and keep track of writing. But this productivity stuff, man, you got to be very careful not to get trapped. You have to have a notebook, a physical notebook, and a piece of paper. You can't do this on your phone. If you're doing this on your phone, you're not a serious person. And if you're like, oh, I keep track of it on my Apple Notes app, that means whatever it is you're keeping track of isn't important enough to use a physical notebook for, which means what you're doing is not important, which is fine. But you work at Target. You have to have a physical notebook.
But I go through months of time where I find it impossible to work creatively. It swings up and down. I get 50x more done when I'm feeling good, but it sucks losing a ton of time when I'm not. Am I just undisciplined? Do you have any advice?
You're just thinking too much. It's not. It's none of this work is creative. It's just a process. So you're thinking too much. It's just one foot in front of the other. Just think, what would a powerful woman creator do? What would Chelsea Handler do? What would Wonder Woman do? But it's just a process, one foot in front of the other. Is it good or is it not good? And you just got to think clearly. You got to stop. You can't be taking drugs and all these things that you think make you creative. It doesn't make you creative. It just makes it harder to think clearly. No, the solution to laziness is knowing what you want to do. If you know what you want to do, then it's pretty easy to work hard. It's not difficult to work hard consistently if you have something that you desire and you know what it is. So the hard part is really finding a direction or figuring out what it is that kind of captivates you enough to put your blood and your soul into.
I work in small business marketing agency. Nothing sus, Sam. No Bill Griefer tactics here. How did you train the MD's clan so good at their work?
We did a lot of diversity and pride counseling. That's mostly all of it. I like to enable people with pride. I empower them.
Yeah.
And that usually, the stream crashed when I was looking at a gay pride Porsche.
Really?
Yeah, and I was saying this is going to be my next car. It's going to be this gay pride Porsche. And then
God punished you by crashing the stream?
Probably.
I remember when I first got here, it was the Happy World Daddy crunch season. Which, speaking of crunch, I was watching some video on Rockstar Games, video essay, and this idiot YouTuber was talking about Rockstar Games changed their culture of crunch. And I was thinking about when I first started working here with Happy World Daddy, it was crunch, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
and
it was
crunch
fun.
is good.
It was really fun.
Yeah, I was thinking in the far out future, Fish Tank is successful, and maybe we have new employees, and they start bitching about crunch. I was just thinking about how angry that would make me.
That's how we fire somebody's ass.
Fire and hurt.
Yeah.
All the best times were crunch.
Yeah.
Not going home. Doing Happy World Daddy until 5 a.m. I was how I learned everything was just sitting right where I am now, sitting next to Sam and him showing me how After Effects works, showing me Premiere, hotkeys. just shadowing. That's how I learned personally.
When you're sleep deprived in general, that's when the best happens, by the way.
Yeah.
And if you ever get into a creative block, forget about drugs and alcohol. If you set an alarm for them to interrupt the middle of your REM sleep, it will solve your creative block. I guarantee it. Just make sure you have a pen and paper next to the bed ready to go, because you're going to be writing the most insane shit you've ever seen or heard of.
That's actually true.
Yeah, I've only done that once, but it was for drawing, and I drew the most insane thing that I've ever drawn in my entire life. You can't work for 17 hours in a day unless you're like Chinese. You're not gonna grow Chinese DNA, are you? But I'm always chasing after time. I have a time constraint problems. You just got to have a mantra where you're always thinking, am I working? Am I working? Am I working? Just get into it, but limit that, because if you overdo it and you start grinding, you're going to be punishing yourself mentally. So have an hour. I think the best advice is to have set hours, like a 9 to 5 job. Have a set amount of hours that you're working, and treat it in a very blue collar type of way. Like, I have to be in this. This is serious advice. If you're doing something creative, or anything, it's just a mistake to work on it when you want to work on it. You have to have set hours. You have to treat it like a workman, blue collar type thing. I'm going to be in my seat at 11 a.m. or whatever it is. I'm going to work for 4 hours, take a break, work for another 4 hours, 3 hours, whatever you can manage. But that's the way to do it. Just be consistent. Consistency, and then not screwing up, like not doing some crazy thing late at night that fucks up your next day, that sort of thing. Be consistent, and then have an hour, like 8 p.m. or whatever, where you turn off and you just do either something light or something not work related. Separate your life by, like, look up Ben Franklin's schedule and figure out something like that for yourself, and start low intensity, work your way up.
How and what is the best way to cultivate an audience that cares about your creative endeavors? I also feel that I should throw my whole life away into pursuing those endeavors.
Oh, a lot of people have felt that way, and a lot of people were wrong. The advice that I've given a bunch of other people, that's the most important thing about this stuff here. No advice, by the way. Is that the wrap-up music? Are we done streaming for the night? What time is it? Okay, we gotta go.
Right now?
The big piece of advice with the creative stuff, okay, is to treat it like a blue-collar job, okay? Creative type. I don't want to work today. I only want to work when I feel like working. I'm struck by inspiration. Oh, I'm struck by inspiration at 3 a.m. Like, this type of stuff, it all has to go. You have to be consistent. You have to treat it like a blue-collar job. You have to be in your desk working at 9 a.m. or whatever time you start. Make sure you wrap up 8 hours later. Like, do full 8-hour work days 5 days a week, and take that approach and just go consistency, long game. Don't panic over. Don't stress over metrics and how many likes you got and all this other stuff. Just keep one step at a time, building with consistency. And I think that goes for anything, like music, comedy, whatever, is just consistently be sort of nurturing the snowball effect, the momentum of whatever you have. If you catch anything that adds to it, bring that in, keep adding to it. And if you find anything that is detracting from it, kick that aside. Get rid of your ego immediately, because that doesn't help you, and it also makes the whole process a lot more unpleasant. If you have an ego, you want to try to nullify as much of that as possible.
Do you ever see comments by people and you just like spend 20 minutes looking at their account, like way too in depth?
Yeah, not so much anymore, but I used to like digging around in these very strange. Look at this. Oh, this guy. This is when you see this is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like the ratio of work and polish to views.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's doing the thumbnail game. He's going hardcore. He's getting 12 views 7 months ago. Oh, baby. He's got the nerve to be telling people about try 480. This is nuts, bro. This is season 1, episode 1. So he's planning well into the future.
Yeah. Just seasons.
Yeah. I want to see him come around season 10. This is with Frank Prendergast. These guys are content These are the barons of content. The dukes. These are the dukes of content.
Yeah, so the tagline, Marcy came up.
This is the best one. You don't want a rigid one. The rigid one is it has to like acquire a patina and go with you throughout the day. You have to be able to like throw it in your bag. You can't have like a precious, nice notebook, a Moleskine. How do you say your Moleskine? Okay, it's junk. The paper is orange. They make the paper look weathered and old so that you think you're writing something profound on it. Just get white paper like a human, okay? But this is a Midori dot grid MD notebook. It's good. $700.